Okay, so here we are playing Caesar and Cleopatra. Since Cleopatra is female and therefore trickier, I allowed her to use strategy, and she set up her deck. On the other hand, Caesar, I'm just shuffling his deck and letting him use it as he wishes at random. I don't know. I just could only think of one strategy when it came down to it, and didn't want to do the same thing for both, really. All right, so I've set things up. Cleopatra gets to go first. Let's take her turn. I don't know if I actually shuffled Caesar's deck, so I may go back. All right, so she's going to take an active turn. There's no question. Now, I don't know what I put down for her. She went heavy on these. I'm going to put a second card here because I believe the bonus cards are all on these, but I'm not sure. She has no action card. She can play another card. Oh, another card, huh? I'm going to play that on Senator. She's very tricky, actually. And now, gets the advantage by, gets 2 cards to refill her hand. She's going to take influence cards for both of them. And flip one of these. Topmost Adelies. Okay, so these get revealed. Caesar has 3. Cleopatra has 5. She gets 1 over on her side. That's her turn. Let's go over to Caesar's turn. He sees, oh, and they both discard their card over in the pile. Alright, well, Caesar sees an opportunity here to grab one of them, but he also wants to worry about his bonus card, which is on play cards. I think what he's going to do is he's going to play a card here, make sure there's not, that he gets some advantage towards avoiding her from getting an advantage there. He's got a 4 here. She could have quite a bit there. He'll play another card here. He gets to replenish his hand. He too will take, actually, he's going to take an action card. Oh, it's an assassin. That doesn't help him. And now he draws one of these. No vote today. Orgy. Well, that's a shame. It's clearly to your disadvantage to have an orgy come up because you just played cards, so you have the slight edge there. Let's go back to Cleopatra. And looking at the cards, she can't force anything to vote. She really wants that Idolus, so she's going to play there. And she'll play on her Quaestor, which actually is where her bonus is. She gets to replenish. She too is going... No, she's just going to draw 2 influences again. This gets flipped. Praetors! Got a 5 for Caesar. A 1 for Cleopatra. Caesar gets a praetor. Now, at this point, Cleopatra has sort of a hint. That 5 card on that, out of one of his initials, is very, very suspicious. And I bet you she's thinking, he's probably got a bonus card for them. And that would indeed be the case. Alright, let's go back to Caesar. What can he do? He could assassinate. That's not going to help here. So, he gets to play 2 cards. He's going to play a card here on the Praetors. Actually, he's going to play a lower valued card on them. And he's going to play a high card over here in the 8 lives. We're still well below any 8-point issue. He can't use his bonus card. He's going to take 2 more influence cards and flip one of these. Select the topmost censor. Okay, so we got a censor name. And he has an 8. And Cleopatra has a 6. So Caesar gets a censor. I'll put that over here. And they each discard a card. Alright, so we're back on Cleopatra's turn. And I'm going to kind of sit back and maybe play a little bit without videoing. I know there's not going to be any really clear points in this game to vid, but I kind of want to let it roll a little further. I don't think I want to use too much video on this thing. Okay, so a little bit further in the game, both have picked up 3 characters, one all of different types, so they're not really gaining any power here. We're at the point where the Idolus and the Censor are both, you know, up for grabs. Whoever gets the next one gets a bonus of a point off that. Cleopatra's turn is up. She's holding her veto in her hand, which is very cool. She sees good cards there. She's going to play against the Idolus and a big card on the Censor in the hopes of gaining some power. Her influence is low, so she's drawing 2 more influence cards. And the vote comes up. Oh, that's an orgy. What a shame. We already had an orgy with a reshuffle. I'm going to do another Caesar turn, and then I'll probably go back to not doing much. Okay, Caesar says... Caesar says, I've got good votes on the Censor. I need to beat 7 there. And I've got 5. The only thing that I have that beats 7. And he's got a veto and a castling in play. He's going to play a 9 here, total. And he's going to play a Philosopher here against the Aeolus. He's viewing these as valuable cards. He wants to draw influence because he's low on influence cards. He gets another Philosopher in his hand. And we get a vote of confidence. It's a Praetor. Okay, so the Praetor cards get turned up. We got a 5 here versus a Philosopher. Okay, Caesar loses. A Praetor goes over there. The Philosopher is always discarded. All Philosophers are discarded. Caesar loses his high-valued card. And it'll once again be Cleopatra's turn. And we're seeing kind of the flow of the game. Doesn't look like there's a lot more to it. There's these little action cards that add a little excitement. But, I'll get to it in my review. So we had another Philosopher fight. This was on Cleopatra's turn, actually, I believe. So, her big points against what the Romans had. The last Idolus goes to the Romans. They're going to get an extra point off that. All the cards are discarded. And worse, as we noted before, this is removed. It's kind of an issue here with the deck here. As this gets smaller and smaller, it's going to become sillier and sillier to reshuffle. Alright. And then, as I said, it's going to be Caesar's turn. Hey, I might as well take his turn. He's got some interesting things in hand. He wants Praetors. He's only got 1 against 1. He's got a Philosopher there, so he's pretty happy with what he's got there. Quaster, he's got a decent amount. What he doesn't have enough on is maybe the sensor. I'm going to play a card on the sensor, and that brings it up to 6. It's getting close to being a forced... See, now that's dangerous. If he puts it to 6, now Cleopatra can throw 2 cards onto there and force a vote on sensor. Yeah. He'll allow her only to play 1 card. That makes him at risk with a philosopher, though. He draws 2 cards. What does he have in his hand? Not much. He'll draw these. We get a vote of confidence. It's on a senator. Wow. He's got a 1. How'd that happen? Cleopatra has a 3. She gets a senator for cheap. And it'll be her turn. And I'll play through some more. Okay, I probably shouldn't have stopped there, but Cleopatra had a handful of garbage, and other than her 1 special card. So she discarded, drew an extra action, and then drew some number cards. It's kind of dangerous because if you go through your influence too quickly, the other player gets more turns because they get to keep playing as long as they have influence cards to play. Of course, if you end up getting all the points that you want, it doesn't matter. Alright, on to Caesar. So we've gotten quite a ways, and it's pretty apparent right now Caesar's winning, I think. Maybe not. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, it's about tied. It looked like he was ahead at one point. But I saw an interesting tactic that didn't quite work out, which is with the castling cards. It's a good way to dump. Cleopatra said, hey, that Praetor is only worth 1 point. A maximum to anyone at this point. I'm going to leave it alone. Caesar's got 2 big cards already on it. And I'm going to invest entirely on the Quaester. Well, she can't because there were only 5 cards there. She shifted everything there, but had to play a card into the senator to make up for the stacking. But it is possible, if somebody has 3 cards, to flood something that way and trigger an event all at once where it's not expected. As it is, she has a lot of cards advantage. It's unlikely Caesar's going to want to play a card there. He might swap out of there, though, which will suit her fine because that's her victory condition card. She wants to get at least 1 more, and if she gets them all, hey, great. Great, except Caesar played the Wrath of God, and Cleopatra does not have a veto. She's used both of hers. Caesar's destroying everything on the Quaestors. Well, that's something not to play around with. Caesar gets more cards. He's going to take 1 of each. Veto. Then we flip this, and here's one of the problems. There's a lot of orgies in there, and not a lot else. There's an option to remove orgies. When an orgy is drawn to vote, let me see. When 2 cards from patrician groups have been won, remove 1 orgy card. When all cards from a 3rd group have been won, remove another. That's probably a good thing because otherwise, as it is, the reshuffle card's coming up a lot. It'll come up just as often, but there's a lot of draws that aren't doing anything. On the other hand, it's forcing players to try to push that 8 card limit, which might actually be cooler. I'll go back and see what Cleopatra can do about this. She's got events in her hand. She's got a castling card, which isn't too useful. There's an assassination card, which isn't really worth playing either here. So she's going to play Quaester. Senator, and hope to get something. It's a senator roll. Oh, she gets cards first. I want all influence on this. 2 influence cards brings me up to 5. Yeah. Okay, so we have a senator influence. We see 5 cards. There's nothing like interrupts in here or anything. You can't jump in except for the veto. 5/7/5. She gets the Quaestor, or the Senator. And that was her turn. We go to the Roman turn. Look briefly, he's got a handful of crap. But throwing cards seems so painful at this point. Senators, how many does she have? She already has 3 senators. We don't want her getting all 5. Painful, painful choices. I'm going to put a good card on the Quaestor, and I'm going to put a crap card on the Senator. What do I have for hand? I have a veto. I don't like my hand, but I know she's running low, so I'm going to draw. See what happens, and it's an orgy, nothing happens. We'll go to her turn. I'm going to skip away for a while. Okay, I've been playing a little loose and screwing up a couple of rolls. Only to be expected in my games, but let's just finish this up. Right now, everything's revealed. This is the only card I've got. Caesar knows exactly what it is. If there's only a P there and nothing else, it just doesn't do anything. So she's going to play that there. She's already got her goal with the Quaestors. She's ahead here. It doesn't really hurt. The vote's on Senator. She gets that. Senator goes. She's out of cards. She can't play anymore. It's on Rome. He's got 2 cards. He knows what's there, and he does not want to play on it. So he is going to discard and draw 3 cards. Those will be helpful. Now it's his turn again. He will scout and assassinate, killing her. There's an orgy. He gets another card. It doesn't really matter. He's got the votes. Just play one. Quaestor goes. All right. Let's count up the points real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and we see that female wiles are better than whatever. Oh well. I'll come back with a review because mainly I've taken a lot of time on this. But, you know, like I said, there were a couple of points where I cheated accidentally. But overall, I think we see the flow of the play. You're playing cards, try to get an advantage. They're kind of hidden. It reminds me a little bit of Strategic War, but with, you know, some added Phillips with the action cards in there. I think one of my biggest cheatings, first, there were 2 places I cheated. One, I think sometimes I removed the highest card from both players. Oops, you know. This kind of thing happens a lot when I play solitaire, so. The other thing is I allowed people to play 2 action cards in 1 round, which may actually be an interesting option, but I cheated something else too. When you play 2 influence cards down, they're face up. When you play 1, it's face down. Major issue, and that would make a big difference in it, as does the 2 action cards two influence cards face up, face down. Anyway, I'll come back with my review on it. Yeah, I played it wrong. Still think you get some view of how it goes and what there is to the game. I do like some of the decision making in it though, and I like it better now that I know what the rules actually are. Okay.